you'll hear my secretary. Now, the recording will automatically be sent to you as a registered student, so you'll get to follow along. Some of this information can be a little mind-boggling. So before we get going, let's give our host, the Orangeburg Library, and in particular, Lynn, a great big round of applause. Yay, Lynn. Thank you for all you do. We love you. Okay, now I'm going to put her out of the spotlight. And there we are. So before we get going, I'm going to review a little bit about what we have done so far. Now, the first class, we talked about the concept of 5 values and being able to differentiate 5 different values from light to dark. Now, the way this works is if you can show 5 values, you show the illusion of realism. If you show 3, you get 3 dimensions. Even 2 gives you a sense of form. What 5 values looks like is the darkest dark is the cast shadow. The 4 is the crust shadow. The 3 is local color. 2 is reflected light. And 1 is the highlight. So if you can capture all 5 values in each sketch you do, you create that illusion of realism. Last week, we started with
Zoom meeting, so I should.
I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. And that way, if you have questions, you're welcome to chime in. And there we go. And you won't hear anything unless you do have a question. There we go. Last week, we talked about symmetrical objects and how to sketch them. And just to reiterate that real quick, when you're sketching a symmetrical object, you start with a center line, and then you build the whole shape of the object around that center line. So the center line, you measure how much is the globe, how much is the stem, and you mark that on your pencil. Then you can turn and measure the width compared to the length and so forth until you have put together the entire shape of the symmetrical object. Now today, we're going to take the same concept of measuring and apply it to the 3-dimensional world. Now, it's a little tricky on Zoom, so I'm going to show you for a second what I'll be sketching, and I'm going to do a demonstration, and then you'll sketch, and I will be helping you as you sketch. So I'll take you through it a step at a time, but you're going to be sketching something totally different. Each person will be sketching an open doorway in their own home. So this is the open doorway directly in front of me. It's my studio doorway. Please ignore the clutter and the mess, but it gives you a rough idea. There's an open door, there's the door jamb and so forth. So on my easel, I have set up a photo so that you can easily see what I'm sketching and the work surface, so you can see how I take this image and transfer it to a sketch. Now, the handout that I sent to you was a handout from Betty Edwards' book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And I'll put that in our chat so everyone has it. Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain is a classic, and it's available through the library. And if you check it out, it has, excuse me, allergy season here. It has all of these exercises that we're going through right now. So it's a wonderful addition to what we're doing. Now, in Betty Edwards' book and in the handout that I sent you, she recommends first establishing a basic unit. So for our purposes, the basic unit is going to be from the top edge of this corner of the door jamb to this corner of the door jamb. So you can see when I measure that on the pencil, it's right about here. Now, you can chew your pencil to notch it, or you can use a marker and notch it, or you can use your fingernail if you prefer. This is why artist pencils are often chewed up. It's because we're using it to mark a basic unit and gauge a measurement. You really want to be able to line up your pencil again, and I'll show you why. When you, oh, I see a note. Okay, so the handout that was attached is really step-by-step instructions of what I'm doing. So if you didn't receive it, just pay attention here. It's the same information. Now, when you establish your basic unit, which you can see that I've marked here on this pencil, this shows you where to hold your hand. If you're holding your hand like this, then your basic unit's going to be really small. If you're holding it like this, it's going to be really large. So you want to be able to line it up exactly in the same spot where you took the measurement. So having that little mark, it's very important that you can see it and line up. So that way you're measuring with your hand exactly the same width from your face each time. So this mark is really to show you where to hold your hand. So keep that in mind. So now that I have my basic unit, I'm going to mark it. This is the basic unit right here. I'm going to mark it on my paper. So here's the one edge, here's the other edge. So I'm making the basic unit the same size as the basic unit in life. So these are both equal. It's easier to keep it that way. You could make your basic unit bigger or smaller if you want to, and that would reduce or enlarge the scene. But for this purpose, let's keep it simple. And then, when you feel more comfortable with the concept, you can reduce or enlarge. So now I have the top of the doorway and I want to measure the side. So I line up my basic unit again. I hold my pencil in front of my face until I can see that basic unit. And then I rotate and I measure, lining this up with the top, I measure how many basic units tall that doorway is. And from my perspective, I have two. So this is my one basic unit and it's 2 basic units long. So coming back in here, I measure 1 and 2. And this shows me the inside of the doorway. Now I'm going to measure the other side, and automatically your brain says, but they should be the same. But it really depends on where you're sitting in the scene. If you're sitting right in front of the doorway, then this side may be the same as this. If you're standing, this side will be closer to you and look like it's farther away. So it's good to measure, even if you think you know. So I line up my basic unit, I check, and I count and measure. And these two are pretty much the same. So I'm going to go ahead and mark them. Okay, and I can see this is where it connects. Here's the front step. Now there's an open doorway. If I wanted to measure where that open doorway is, first thing, here's the basic unit. Notice that the doorway itself, the open doorway, is only a very small part. This is the door. So the door is only this much of the basic unit. So it's hardly anything at all. If I wanted to mark that on my sketch, I would mark it right about here. Now, notice that this is not a ruler. I'm not measuring 5 3/8. You really don't want to use a ruler because it puts you on the wrong side of your brain. Then you're thinking numerically instead of solving this problem as a spatial relational problem, which is right brain. Now, up here is a pretty intense angle. You see the angle that doorway is at. One way to measure this is you can hold your pencil up at the same angle, bring it over, and sketch. And that'll help me get the angle. Another way is to hold your pencil directly across and line up with that where the angle starts. So that would be right about here. And then look at this space shape here as like a piece of cheesecake. When I say space shape, I'm talking about the shape of the air right here. This is an angle right up in here. And if I look at it, I can see, well, that's about a 15 or 30 degree angle. That's really not helpful. But if I look at that shape and I come in here and I sketch that same shape, I can see, oh, this is a little too much. Needs to come more like this. And it helps me to see that shape a little better. And that helps me get the top part of that door. Now, the top part of the door is different than the bottom part of the door. Look how sharp that angle is. So if I were to sketch that angle, here's the angle. If I were to sketch that angle, it looks unbelievable compared to the top. But I'm going to go ahead and put my pencil in that same position, carry it over, and sketch. And this gives me the open doorway. Now there's also some width to that door. We're looking at the back part of the door. And if I wanted to place these windows next, the next step would be to line up my basic unit, which I always do. I always go back to lining up the basic unit. Then I move the basic unit over and measure that window in comparison to the basic unit. And it's about the same. So I can see there's a little gap, putting a measurement here. I know I'm off screen. There's the top of the window. Here's the side. And this just gives me a rough idea of where that window goes. On the other side, same situation. I have a little bit of wall, and then I have the windows. If I wanted to measure the distance between each one of these window panes, I would do the same thing. I line up my basic unit, I turn, and I see that this is roughly here on the basic unit. I can make a little mark, and bring it in here. It's roughly there. Next one, about the same. And this helps me to see all of those windows, get them in place. And there's the top part of the window. And here's the curtain. Okay. Now, an interesting phenomenon happens when you're looking at a perspective. If you were painting, let's say, the corner of a room, your mind will play tricks on you because you know that the walls are even and that the ceiling is attached to the wall. So you would think the corner of a room might look something like this with a flat ceiling and flat sides, but that really isn't what the corner of a room looks like. Most often, it will look like a Y shape. the ceiling dips down, comes to a corner. One side of the room is at a sharper angle than the other. The same is true for the floor. The floor is going to come at a sharp angle, and both sides are going to be a little bit different. So don't let your mind play tricks on you. Actually look at it. And if you need to, line up your pencil with the corner and then look at these wedges. These wedges will help you to sketch them. Now, when you make those wedges solid, you can see them better. But this helps you to see that it's at an angle. Okay. Now, once I have everything sketched in place, I can start using the concept of values. So I noticed in the scene that the curtains and the inside of the room is much darker than the outside. So I'm going to darken everything that's on this side of the door. And I'm going to go through this pretty quick, so you guys will be drawing in 1 minute. This is a curtain. I'm going to make that curtain a little bit lighter since it's catching the light on the outside of the door. Make this darker. Outside the door, you can see a little picket fence. Goes off in this direction, little picket fence. And some cast shadows from foliage. So I'm just going through my values now. This is some of the darker values are inside, the 4s are the outside right in front. 3s are on the pavement and the shrubs. Here's a little palm tree. Little palm tree. And then this street, there's the roof. So these are 2s and 1s. So you get the illusion of perspective, and that's what we're going for. So again, to show you what I'm drawing from life, this is the open door. So we're just looking straight through that open door. Now, are there any questions? Anybody have any questions about that? I know it's a lot of information. You may have to unmute yourself to jump in.
This is Gail.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to say that it's such a simple scene, but then after you drew it, it was so interesting.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you were able to follow along. All right. So anyone else have any questions? Wonderful. So let's give this a try together. Now, the simpler the scene, the easier it will be for you to sketch. I encourage you to not get something too complicated and difficult for your first go round. So just pick an open door anywhere in your house and choose a pencil that you can notch or put a mark on. Okay, now whenever you're ready, set your pencil up and then measure your basic unit, which will be the edge across the top of the door. So you measure from the inside corner on one side of the door to the inside corner on the other side of the door. Then notch your pencil, notch it or mark it in some way. What I most often do is stick it in my mouth and go, Once you have it notched, take that mark and transfer it to your paper. Now, it doesn't matter if you put it in the right place or not. Wherever you put it is where you're going to start your sketch of the door. So just put it someplace about where you think it should go and sketch one side of the mark and then the other side. Okay. So at this point, you have your basic unit on your pencil and on your paper. Now we're going to move to the next item. So if you're doing the top of the door, the next item would be the side of the door. So line up your basic unit again, then rotate your hand. You can't measure like this or like this. It has to be on the same plane. So imagine there's a plate of glass and you're measuring the top, your basic unit, then rotating, and then measure how many basic units long that door is. I use my finger to help me measure 1, 2, 3. So use your finger to help you measure the length of the door. Once you have that measurement, take it into your sketch and put it right next to the basic unit, then measure and mark from the top and the bottom, and then sketch that line.
Now, I don't have a door where I am. I have to go to another room. Or an opening is too big. It's not fitting on the paper. Can I do a window?
Maria, that means your basic unit is too big. So you need
Okay.
to either hold your pencil closer to your face or further from your face and make it smaller.
Okay.
But you could do a cabinet or anything as long as it's simple.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Bring your hand a little closer. There you go.
Yeah, makes a difference.
I'm sorry, this is Kathy.
Hi.
I had to step out for a moment. I'm sorry. We're supposed to do a doorway in our own house? Is that?
Yes, either an open door or a
Okay.
closet or a cabinet. And Kathy, you want to start by getting your basic unit, measuring it, and then making a mark on your pencil to
Okay,
show the basic unit. So I use the top of the door jamb as my basic unit.
okay, so we go into the other room, you're saying?
No, you don't want to leave the computer. Just turn in your seat so that you can see some kind of a door or a cabinet.
I can, but it's, okay, I got it. Okay. It's just, the door opens in a different way. Okay.
So once you have the top edge I'm gonna put you back on the easel here. Once you have the top edge and your basic unit, and then you have the side, measure the other side. And then think of it as a jigsaw puzzle. So everything that's close to the basic unit, you're putting those things in first. So get one side of the door, then the other side of the door, then the open door, and sketch those in place on your paper. Remember to keep it simple. Once you have the open doorway in place, look at the base of the doorway on the top and the bottom, and just put whatever's right beside the doorway onto your sketch. Remember that even though we think the walls and the ceiling are flat, that it's probably going to have an angle to it. So sketch those angles.
I'm gonna go open it.
Okay, once you have all of the big basic shapes in place, then start with the concept of values. Start with your darkest dark. In this case, look at how much darker these curtains are on the inside of the room than on the outside. So start with your darkest dark and put that in place. You're putting all your fives.
What if everything is white?
Is it a darker white or a lighter white?
I guess the inside, the doorway going out could be a little darker, but there's
Okay.
nothing really dark.
That's okay. If it's not dark, dark, is it a 4 value or a 3 value? So this will challenge you to, figure out which level of value it is. So once you have your darkest dark in place, then you move to your 4s. In this example, the 4s would be the color on the open door. And some of the darks that you see on the inside of the room. So sketch those in place. Once you have your 4s, then move to your 3s. The 3s in my case are things that are dark, but they're not quite as dark as the 4s and the 5s. They're more middle values. Once you have some of those middle values in place, then your 2s. Your 2s you may want to erase out to show the 2s. 2s in my case would be right about here, the open door, the pavement. And then last touch, put on your lightest lights. You may need to erase to get a lightest light. These are the highlights. And then as you start to finish up, just give me a little wave when you're finished and I'll take a look at your work. Okay, looks like Marie, can you unmute, please?
Sorry.
That's okay. Let's see what you've been up to.
Okay, well, I'm looking into my kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
This is the island. This is the
Uh-huh.
refrigerator, the cabinet over the refrigerator. And there's
That's
a doorway. This is looking into the utility room. And this is a doorway into the hallway. So it's a little bit, I'll show you. Pardon the stuff. I eliminated all the things on the island.
Maria, that's so beautiful. It really looks
Oh,
like the open
No,
doorway.
that's not me. That's
So
not me.
I didn't get that other cabinet. I'm trying to get the perspective I had, but that gives you an idea.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Good job, Marie. Good
Thank you.
job. So
Thank you.
how was it using the tool of sighting?
It helps. It definitely helps. I found this time I relaxed a little more and was a little freer with my sketching. And I
Good.
think that paid off.
I think so too. You were able to get quite a bit of detail in a short period of time.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautifully done. Let's give Marie a big round of applause. Yay, Marie.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sharing your work.
So Lynn, I think you have two Marias in this class.
We have a
So-
Marie and a Maria.
Oh, okay. So that's where the confusion was.
Who else is ready? Okay, Carla, make sure you unmute and I will put you in the spotlight.
Okay. This is, whoops.
Oh, wow.
This is,
Carla.
yeah, looking into my bedroom and another closet with raised panels.
Folding
Yeah.
doors. Yes, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so was that a challenge?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a lot of doors in this condo. A lot
And-
of doors.
And it looks to me like there's some patterns on the doors, some woodworking.
Yeah, they're raised panel doors, which I was trying to get the perspective and the angle on that. Which was
Yes,
a little confusing.
it's really difficult, but you had it on half the door. Like you
Well-
can really tell that you got it, you measured.
Yeah, tried.
Yeah, looks very accurate. Carla, how was using the tool of sighting, like measuring and
It was very helpful because where I didn't use it, I realized what my problem was because I tried to put in the door hinges
Mhm.
and I realized when I'm looking at it now, they're all equal distanced and I didn't do that. So
Aha.
a lot of little details that needed that more, but that would have been really, really helpful.
That's very smart of you. All right, let's give Carla a round of applause. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Good job, my friend. Maria, are you ready? Did you want to show your work?
Well, I had an issue, and my problem was I understood what you were saying about the sighting and holding your pencil out. But once you start pulling it in to get the size adjusted smaller, then you don't have the gauge of where to put that pencil the next time you hold it up.
Well, that's why you notch your pencil, and that shows you how to line up your pencil. So whenever you're making a measurement, you put a little mark on your pencil, and then you can easily line it up. So that mark shows me what what measurement I had. So if I'm measuring here, that mark will only line up if I line up my arm here. If my
Okay.
arm is out here, it's not lined up. If it's too close, it's not lined up. So the mark is what shows you how to line up your arm.
Well, that makes sense. All right. I didn't have a good, I don't have a door in this room. So all I had was an armoire. So it's a little complicated.
Okay, so let's put you in the, there we go. So you had the open doorway. Yeah, I can see that open doorway, and inside the armoire, there's some shelves and such.
And then I have, the side of it I see here. I don't see the other
Uh-huh.
side.
Well, it
So,
looks to me like you're getting the idea.
Yes, no, I like the idea, definitely.
That's wonderful. So take
So-
the concept and sit on your bed and open the closet door, or do something, with a door you can easily see that's very simple, and it might
Right.
gel a little better.
Okay, definitely.
That's beautifully done. Let's give Maria a
Thank
big
you.
round of applause. Okay, and who would like to be next? Arlene, you look like you're finished. Would you like to unmute and jump in?
I'm sitting in a dining area and I was trying to sketch my bedroom door. And
Okay.
the way it was, and the bathroom door is sort of opened. So I was trying to sketch it. And then I guess because he didn't realize, my husband just went into the bedroom and closed the door. So blame him. Do not blame me.
Oh,
I really was
actually,
trying, and I turned away for a minute and he went into the bedroom and he closed the door. So,
but Arlene, you really got it. I mean, you've created the illusion of an open door right there. And that
Right.
looks really challenging because the top of the door is at a different angle than the bottom of the door. And you captured both.
oh, I don't know. I can't believe he went in and closed the door.
Of course he did. That's typical of a husband. Did you look at your drawing on the computer?
Yeah.
Sometimes it helps if you see it there because you're looking at it from a distance. Do you get that illusion of perspective?
I think I do.
I think you did.
I
Yeah.
think I do. I'm not quite, I don't think I'm there yet, but I'll work on it.
I think you did a wonderful job with it. Let's give Arlene a big round of applause. And hello to Arlene's husband. All right, who would like to be next?
I'll go.
Okay, Kathy, I'm putting you in the spotlight.
Now remember, it's all white.
Okay, I sure will.
The darkest part was the picture frame.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, that is beautiful. It's so funny because the door is opening in.
I know
And-
it's opposite than anybody else.
Yeah. But it works. I really get that illusion that the
Well,
door is coming
also-
closer.
Also, it looks in the opposite, like everything is reversed, actually. It's really
That's-
on the other way.
That's really
Anyway.
beautifully done. And your values look good. They're spot on.
Thank you.
All right. Let's give Kathy a big round of applause. Nicely done, Kathy. Challenging subject when it's coming forward at you. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go now.
Okay. I'm going to put you in the spotlight.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Simone, wow. Oh, my goodness. So
Outside.
your door open to the outside.
Yeah.
Very nice. Wow. How was it using the sighting, being able to sight and gauge measurements?
How is it what?
Sighting, like using your pencil to gauge a measurement.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very useful.
Excellent. So you've created an illusion of depth. The only suggestion I would make is on your sidewalk, it will probably get narrower the further away it goes. You
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Yeah, the path to the outside, I don't know if I should make it like the middle dark or light.
Oh, okay, probably lighter, because as things move away from you, they tend to get lighter.
Okay.
How you doing?
Oh, I am gonna mute folks. There
Yeah, I'll
we
try
go.
that next time.
Ask these guys about it.
All right, beautifully done. Let's give
Thank
her
you.
a round of applause. Nicely done, Simone.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I'm not sure who is unmuted. Okay, there we go. Who else would like to go? Gail, I don't think we heard from you yet. I'm going to ask you to unmute. It's the little microphone in the lower left corner. It probably is red and it has a red
Says
line.
unmute myself.
Yes,
How's that?
yes, that's perfect. Oh, Gail, that's a doorway open to the outside.
Yes. Can you see the trees and the leaves
Yes,
and gravel?
yes, and the door coming straight at you.
Uh-huh.
That's great. How was it using the tool of sighting?
It was really made it so much easier. I couldn't have done without it.
That's good. I hope you can continue to use sighting. It will help you with all those tricky perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. I'll continue. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Gail, you did a great job with that.
Thanks.
Let's give her a round of applause. Nicely done, Gail. Okay, and is there anyone who doesn't have their camera turned on that might want to show their work? Feel free to turn on your camera and I'll put you in the spotlight.
Hello?
Unmute. Hi.
I'm sorry that I didn't turn on my camera, but I came on quick, so.
That's okay. I'm going to put you in the spotlight right now. Did you get a chance to do a sketch?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see if I can do it. I can hold it up.
I can see that open doorway behind you.
Oh, well, I should have turned around, but no, this is my base. This is going to my basement and going
Okay.
upstairs. So
Okay.
it's like a
That's
corner,
excellent.
so.
That's excellent. Ellen, I get the illusion of perspective and your values look good too. How was it using the tool
I
of
liked
sighting?
that. I liked it. It
Excellent.
was good. You know, I didn't do it on the steps and I should have, but I was just, throwing it in, making it quick. I wanted to get the door right, so.
Well, I think you did. Let's give Ellen a big round of
you.
applause. Nicely done. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to jump in at this point? Okay, I'm going to show you one more quick application for this since we do have a little time. Now, the same concept can be done on the outside of the house. So let me take you to the easel and show you what I most often use the concept of sighting for. So when you're painting and you're looking down a pathway at a house in the distance or something, this is a great opportunity for sighting and sight sizing. So what I would do in this case is use one of these fence posts as a basic unit. So this would be about where my basic unit would be. And then I would measure everything else based on that basic unit. So for example, if I wanted to get this pathway in perspective, the first thing I would do is turn and measure the width of the pathway. So I can see, you know, the pathway starts down here. It's a little bit wider than the basic unit. So I would start here. And then if I rotate, I can see that the pathway is almost 1 basic unit tall. So I can measure, this is about where it ends. And then the top of the pathway is only as wide as the silver part on my pencil. So this helps me to get that perspective. So here's the pathway. The fence hits right about here. And then here's the cast shadows pathway continues down here. So when you are confronted with a complicated view, this will help you to simplify it. Here's that second fence. And to get the perspective. Now, there's a lot of architectural details here. I wouldn't try to paint everything in, but notice that the building is also 1 basic unit tall. So it's funny how things will start to line up when you're measuring. So there's the roof. That shows you about where the height is. If I rotate it, I can see the doorway itself, 1 basic unit. So using the concept of a basic unit will help you to determine everything in perspective, even when you're working from a photograph, but especially when you're working from life. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about the concept of negative space. We touched on that today when we were looking at the angles and seeing the negative space created by the angle. Portrait artists often use the concept of negative space, like sketch the direction of the gaze. If I'm looking this way, look at the whites of my eyes. If you sketch the whites of my eyes, it would give you an idea that both pupils were looking in one direction. So negative space helps you to simplify a complicated drawing task. And we're going to walk step by step through a drawing of a ram next week and use the concept of negative space. If you happen to be a watercolorist, then negative space is something you've probably used over and over again. Negative space really helps you to get a scene in that you probably couldn't get otherwise. Faces, heads, and so forth. Now, in terms of citing, if you would like to further your use of citing, sit yourself up on a chair so that you can see an open doorway in your house. And try this again. Or sit yourself up at a window and then look out the window. And again, the homework is really just to further solidify that new neural pathway that we just created in your brain. The more you use this skill, the easier it is to hold on to the skill. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions? Piece of cake.
I have a question.
Yes, Kathy.
What are you using? Are you using charcoal? Are you using what are you using to draw with the darker one?
I'm using a pastel pencil. It's like a woodless pencil that's filled with pastel. And I do that so that you can see the marks I make easily. Because when you're working on a camera, it's a little hard to see a pencil mark.
because sometimes with the pencil with a point, it's hard to like get things straight and, we're not using rulers or whatever. So I
Mhm.
thought maybe a thicker pencil might work.
Or charcoal. If
Charcoal.
you happen to have some charcoal around the house, charcoal is wonderful. It gets your hands dirty, but
Mhm.
don't we spend way too much time being clean?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Charcoal pencil.
Uh-huh.
That's really pretty fun to use. You do get very smudgy, but dirty, but this is pretty easy to use.
Hold that up, Carla, and I'll put you in the spotlight.
It's a Derwent
Uh-huh.
charcoal
So-
pencil.
You can get charcoal pencils like that at most of the hobby stores.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
pretty easy. Yeah.
Yep. So, charcoal is really a wonderful thing for artists to use because you can't be perfectionistic with it. It's like drawing with a stick.
Hmm.
And you don't really save charcoal drawings most of the time. It's just for your own edification and you throw them away. All right. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Wonderful. It is always a pleasure and an honor to get to work with you ladies. Expect to get the recording shortly from Lynn. And I hope to see you all next week for Negative Space. There was a question from me, and it's, are General's charcoal pencils good? And yes, General's is one of the best brands of charcoal pencils. I have several things by General's in my studio that I use on a daily basis. They're very high quality.
I have a question, actually
Yes.
a comment. The person who sent from iPad, who is that? And I just want to make sure I send you the attachment. If you have an email or just put your name in the chat, so I know who it is. Is iPad still here?
I don't see them. They may,
Oh.
they have
iPad
left.
has left the room. Okay,
iPad has left the building.
I guess that's it. All right, never mind.
All right.
All right, thanks. Yeah,
Well, thank you to
I
everyone.
just wanted to
Oh.
show you something that I did after seeing your little hedgehog.
Oh,
oh, is that adorable?
So
that's so cute.
I kind of followed your lead, and I'm going to do a Christmas tree and I think an angel. It's kind of tedious because there's an awful lot of
is, yeah.
paper folding. But
Well, I have something to show you guys then, if we
I
have a
was really
second.
happy with the-
Sure.
It was fun.
So we're gonna do this for,
Oh, I love it. That's the kind of thing I've been looking into.
yeah, for Valentine's
Oh.
Day.
Oh, how cute.
Sign me
Hello.
up.
Fun?
I'm there.
Okay.
Sounds like fun.
That's
Very
really neat, Lynn.
Love that.
What?
That's beautiful.
I didn't do it, by the way, but I'm gonna learn how and we're
Yeah.
gonna make these.
I'm
Yeah.
having fun experimenting.
Yeah, it's fun.
On different things.
Yeah.
And
Making a good use out of books, right?
anybody's interested, they have free books at the library in the lobby, and that's where I got this paperback book. So that
That's terrific.
unless you have old ones you want to use at home, it's a good way to recycle.
Right. And just so you know, I want to show Shawn the hedgehog.
Yeah, I never got around to doing that, but it's so cute.
Oh, that's
I
I put my
adorable.
business cards in it. So
Oh, that's smart.
Oh, Lynn,
looks like
that's so adorable.
we had fun making these.
It looks like it. That's a hoot.
Right.
So that's what
All right.
inspired me.
Thanks, everyone.
That's what inspired me, and I didn't do the hedgehog, but I attempted the pumpkin.
Good for
Very
you.
nice. Nice.
Thank you.
Great to see so much creativity.
Oh, we are a creative bunch.
It's
That
fun.
you are. All right, you lovely
Thank
people.
you.
Keep up with the great creative ideas and remember to practice. The more you practice, the more you dig those new neural pathways and learn that new skill. I'll see
Thank
you
you.
all next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shawn.
Thanks, Shawn.
Thank you.